is your October Bank Holiday Saturday edition of Ireland AM. It's the 28th of October.
Yes, Bank Holiday weekend. Lovely! Coming up, it's an historic 4 in a row for Rovers, and Ireland smashed 5 past Albania in the Women's Nations League last night. We'll have all that, including today's big rugby showpiece.
We're getting into the spirit of the long Halloween weekend with some top spooky movie picks for you horror fiends out there, because nothing says relaxing like a scary movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Sit back, relax, and have a few spooks.
Why
Yeah.
would you do that to yourself? Plus, it's time to fall back, as they would say over in America. We're getting expert sleep advice as the clocks change tonight and answering the queries you have on your kiddo's sleep.
And later on, we'll be learning how to bump, grind and shimmy in the form of a burlesque class.
Well, you were getting a bit of a groove going on just before we went to air.
I love the theme tune. I do, I have to say. Yeah.
I didn't shave my legs, so I can't go burlesque dancing. Sorry.
Neither did I. She won't stop us. Won't stop us.
Okay, I forgot me, Velcro trousers.
Oh, too many excuses, Martin. Too many.
I get the coffees. Doesn't matter. Anyway, Katia, what are you up to?
Martin, you're going to be missing out. I feel like you should bring Linda Martin King back for this. Shimmy.
No.
Okay, we'll see.
She will never see the light of day again.
I'll try to convince him. Good morning, guys. Also coming up on today's show, he won Bake Off with the help of his dad's old recipes and an engineering degree. Baker Giuseppe Dell'Anno chats to us. Plus, we'll be making a Fakeaway Spice Bag in the kitchen, along with latte-coloured styles on the catwalk. That's plenty coming up this morning.
All right, let's take a first look at your morning papers. We'll start with the Irish Times with the headline, Israel pounds Gaza as UN calls for truce. They report that Israel pounded Gaza last night from the air, sea and ground with unprecedented ferocity, knocking out communication systems and internet networks across the coastal enclave.
RTE knew it had made pay error before Tubridy named and shamed. That's the front of the Irish Independent. They write that RTE's board knew a €120,000 error over Ryan Tubridy's pay was the station's fault before naming and shaming their star.
The Examiner goes with the headline, Judge warns of toxic drug danger. They go on to write that a retired Cork judge has expressed concern at the potential impact that toxic synthetic opiates would have if they were used by drug dealers to fill any future gap in the heroin market.
On to the tabloids now, and the Herald leads with blood match to DNA under Aisling's nails. They report that a male DNA profile found under the fingernails of Aisling Murphy matched blood samples taken from the murder accused, a court heard yesterday.
The front page of the Mirror reads DNA under Aisling's nails. They write that an expert claimed the possibility of DNA found under the nails of Aisling Murphy belonging to anyone other than a relative of the murder accused was 1 in 14,000.
The Star goes with the headline, Daylight Robbery. They write that a fuming MEP says putting clocks back is making us all sick.
The Daily Mail leads with reports into the RTE scandal. Cost €2.3 million so far. They report that the government and RTE are spending over €2 million on a colossal series of reviews to tackle lack of governance and financial mismanagement at the broadcaster, which members of the Public Accounts Committee have described as outrageous.
And finally, The Sun lead with Cash is Kin. They report that hit Irish crime drama Kin has been saved after it was snapped for a prime slot on BBC One.
Now, do you at home have any modern fears? Because apparently getting stuck in a lift has been named as the most common modern fear. A survey of 2,000 people found that 13 out of the top 20 modern fears were technology related, with 45% dreading the thought of being without their smartphone for a day.
So this morning we'd love to know, what are your everyday modern fears?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. Text or WhatsApp us on 089 611 111.
OK, modern fears, what were there?
I feel like that one there, like being without my smartphone. Last week I was having problems with my phone, right? And I realised I use it for everything. Your banking, your texting, communication with everyone. But Google Maps, I was without Google Maps and I rely so heavily on it.
But is it a fear? Or is it just like an inconvenience? Like, are you afraid of being without your phone?
I'm afraid of being without Google Maps.
OK, you're afraid of being lost.
I'm afraid of being lost.
Valid.
Yes.
There are things called road signs.
Yes. I don't read them.
That might get you to where you need to be.
Don't read them.
You don't read them. You just look at the map and go.
I rely so heavily on it. What about you guys?
I have a fear of being late.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
very, very afraid of being late. I like to be punctual, on time, like 15 to 20 minutes early at all times.
OK, missing flights is in here.
Yeah.
As one of the big modern fears.
Yes.
So
that I'd be in that category now. You'd
be fearful of that.
Now, you're talking to two people that are
you two are very loosey-goosey.
We have our late moments, myself and
You see times as guidelines rather than rules.
Well,
not that they're ever late to studio. Ever,
OK, you're going. If you're flying out of the airport and heading somewhere, how far ahead of the flight would you be?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, if it's only to London, like, you're like maybe like 90 minutes beforehand, you know, but then further afield, more than that.
Okay.
As a self-declared kind of late person, I'm proud to say I've never missed a flight in my life.
Yes.
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 Yeah. Let us know if you guys ever have missed a flight, or what is your modern fear. 0896 111 111. We'd love to hear it.
Okay, up next, the ultimate Rugby World Cup final awaits. We chat through all things sport after this break. Back. It's 4 in a row for Rovers, and Ireland smashed 5 past Albania in the Women's Nations League last night. And there's the small matter of the Rugby World Cup final tonight. Lots to go through, so Brendan O'Brien from the Irish Examiner is joining me this morning with the latest sports updates. But first, we'll take a look at some of the back pages. The Irish Examiner lead with one last job. Can the Springboks retain their World Cup crown? And here comes treble is the headline in the Irish Daily Mirror. City boss Pep Guardiola has ordered his side to show Manchester United why his City team were all conquering last season. And finally, Special Katie is the headline on the back of the Irish Daily Mail. As Katie McCabe had another cracker last night as she put 3 past Albania in Ireland's 5-1 win. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, likewise.
It's been a while. You were off gallivanting around France.
I was.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes' time, but we'll start with Rovers last night, leaving it late against St. Pat's to secure a 4th title.
Yeah, leaving it late, and kind of like they did all season after that dreadful start as well. So, look, first thing to say is 4 in a row. It's only ever been done once, which is by Rovers back in 84 to 87. So, fantastic achievement, you know, and Stephen Bradley obviously is the first manager to do the 4 in a row, because back then it was 2 different bosses in charge. So, yeah, it's kind of a strange season for Rovers, wasn't it? I mean,
well, they had that slow start, and we wondered, you know, were the wheels coming off the wagon?
Yeah.
And then they steadied themselves again.
Yeah, but like you look through the squad they have, I mean, they have so much pedigree that they weren't going to go through the season without getting it done. But I was just looking back through the kind of the guts of the season last night as well, and after that bad start, they had a great run of 10 or 12 unbeaten, then did another blip, and then they came back again. But I think last night's win in Richmond Park was their first away from home since early June or something, which it's just a crazy stat.
It's hard to comprehend.
It really is, but it sums up as well what sort of a season it's been. I think their points total will be down in previous seasons. And if you're the likes of a Derry City or a St. Pat's, you're probably looking at it going, you know what?
There was a chance there.
There was an opening there, we didn't take it. So, and we're already hearing from Stephen Bradley, he wants to go for 5. And, you know, why not 6? Why not 7? So
he's looking for the board to back him.
He is looking. You know, it's been an interesting season for Rovers off the pitch as well. Obviously, Stephen Bradley, we all know about the issues facing his son Josh at the moment, and that's his priority. And there's a link with Lincoln City in England that still hasn't gone away. So, yeah, and you talked about the issues with the board. You know, there's players out of contract. Like I said, they have a very good squad, but you can't stand still. And there's talk about Shelbourne putting in a good budget next year. Derry City have money behind them. Pats will probably be back again. So, you know, interesting times ahead. But for now, look, they're entitled to go and celebrate after the season they had.
Absolutely, and there's still a couple of games to go.
Yeah,
so, you know,
absolutely.
So they've won it well in the end. While they were down in Richmond Park, winning their 4 in a row, Tallaght Stadium was busy last night because the Ireland ladies were in action, and it was a bit of a shaky start. Yeah. Even though Ireland got an early lead, they kind of gave away an equaliser and then had to work for their win.
Absolutely, and Eileen Gleeson's the interim manager. She said as much last night. She said we weren't happy with that first half. It's been a very good Nations League campaign for them. They've really hit the ground running, but that was kind of their wake-up moment, I think, last night, and it happened early enough in the game. They were able to get into the sheds at half-time. They were able to kind of obviously talk about a few things and hit the ground running. But Katie McCabe, again, as we saw in Australia during the World Cup, I mean, it's so unusual to see a player who can kind of bend the game to their will like Katie can. And I saw again last night.
She's a special player.
She's totally special. She's our first Ballon d'Or nominee since Roy Keane in 2000. And you can see that kind of very different player to Roy Keane, but you can see that iron will and that world-class pedigree that shoots through. I mean, when she made the break for one of those goals, she just pushed through 2 players and set up Kira Carusa. A hat-trick and 2 assists, and she hit the bar as well. I mean, that's right or over stuff, really, like, you know.
Do you think she might have got player of the match?
I don't know. Like, the player of the match award can be a dodgy thing sometimes in any sport, but I'm sure it was a no-brainer last night, and it puts them in a great position as well.
Fantastic position.
So they play Albania over there early next week. They win that, and if another result or 2 goes their way, they've already won the group. And this is all important in terms of the Euros in 2025, as well, in terms of it could guarantee them a playoff spot as well. So great night and some good work done for them.
Absolutely. We'll move on to rugby because if the gods were good to us, you'd still be in France and getting ready for one of the biggest nights in Irish sport tonight. But it wasn't to be. You were in France up until that quarter-final weekend.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great final tonight.
Absolutely.
But you do feel as if the heart was ripped out of it for so many rugby fans. It
kind of was. And that weekend, just to refresh people's memory, it wasn't just Ireland losing on the Saturday, it was France losing on the Sunday. And I was at that game when France lost to South Africa. I wasn't working at it, so I was in the unusual position for me to be walking out with thousands of people afterwards. And there's a metro stop just a couple of 100 metres from the Stade de France. Thousands and thousands and thousands of French people there, utter silence.
Wow.
It was like nothing I've ever experienced before. But the final tonight is going to be absolutely sensational as well. So
we're looking at the All Blacks in their semi-final last week against Argentina. And they were awesome.
Yeah.
But it was like a training game.
Yeah. I mean, look, Argentina were not the team we hoped it would be. I mean, they're probably the big disappointment of this Rugby World Cup. But New Zealand have done everything they've had to do since that opening defeat to France. They've had a very, very kind draw in that group in Pool A, so they were able to kind of just hammer a few minnows, get through their week's work and move on. And they were able to target that Ireland quarter-final, which was the big one for them. But they've really come back into form in the last while, and very analytical staff there. Joe Schmidt, who we all know very well from his time in Ireland, is there as well. So they're in a very, very good place ahead of this final.
Fatigue might be a factor, right? Because as we saw, the game against Argentina was a mismatch. Yeah. Whereas South Africa, on the other hand, had to work for their win against England. And because it's rugby, it's a different sport. It does take an awful lot out of players physically.
Yeah, and they've a day less to prepare for this as well. Like you say, against England, very fatiguing game. The week before, they had a similar game. They beat France by a point as well. They had a much tougher pool. They had to play Scotland and Ireland. Now, they did have a week off in the midst of that as well. But there is that factor. There is a certain question about the box, which they hope they can offset with the infamous bomb squad that will come in. They've again named 7 forwards on the bench, which only they have ever done in World Rugby. Yeah. So it's clear what they're looking to do. You ally that to the fact that they brought Andre Pollard back as their 10. They've left Manny Libbok out completely. So that tells us everything about where they're going. We are going to try and pummel you into the ground. And if we don't get it done in the first half, we'll bring on all our forwards in the second half to do it. And you ally that then to the fact that the conditions are going to be wet today as well. The worst of the weather will be the afternoon, should dry up a little bit, but that will play a factor as well. They will hope to batter the All Blacks into submission.
Okay, but I do wonder sometimes if they are beating a rod for people to beat them with. If one of their backs picks up a bad injury in the first half, has to be replaced, that's their option gone.
Absolutely. This is a high-risk strategy for a Rugby World Cup final, which gives it an awful lot of unique value tonight as well. They continue to tell us we have cover throughout our back line. We have forwards who can come and play in the wing. We have a full-back who can play at 10. We have a centre. They can. That's all one thing. They can do it. But they're not world-class in those different positions. You take a guy like Damien Willemse from full-back and put him in the wing. He's not a world-class wing. He's a world-class full-back. So that's how high-risk a strategy it is. Can they do a job? Yes. Can they do it to the level they need it to happen? That's another question entirely.
Okay. How do you think they'll do? Will they retain their World Cup tonight?
I am so torn in this. I keep flipping and flopping. You can ask me in 5 minutes, I'll have a different answer. I think the Boks just about have it. I think they are all round a better team. And like you say, if they avoid a couple of key injuries in the wrong places, if there's no red cards or yellows, I think they'll squeeze it.
OK. Last night we had the game for third place. For me, it's a meaningless game.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a great game, as it normally does, because so much of the pressure is off the teams. England were cruising for a long time.
Yeah.
Then Argentina came back at them.
Yeah, it's an odd game in any shape or form, whether it's the FIFA World Cup or this one as well. Teams really don't want to be there. Their job is done. They've fallen short. Let's go home. Especially in rugby, it's such an attritional game, as you said. But I found it entertaining last night. I mean, it wasn't good quality rugby, and it just highlights the fact again that Ireland and France should really have been in the semi-finals. But look, that's an argument we've had already. But England did start very well. It's amazing that they're the third best in inverted commas team in the world, because they are so limited with their kicking game. But Steve Borthwick, the England manager, will look at that and go, look, I only came in at the last minute. We were all over the shop, and now we're third in the world.
And they would have taken that at the start of this tournament.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was quite a game, quite an entertaining game. Look, enjoy tonight's final.
Thanks very much.
Good to see you again. I'm sorry that you're home, because if you weren't, it would mean Ireland were playing in the World Cup final tonight.
Absolutely.
But
good to be back.
Great to see you. All right. Lots more to come after this break, so stay with us.
Now, fall to a rash. October is Menopause Awareness Month, and as we approach the end of the month, it's important to re-emphasise its key message, that there is help out there.
Here with some advice on how to alleviate some of the issues associated with the menopause is pharmacist Laura Dowling. You're very welcome today.
Thank you.
You know, menopause, it's part of the natural cycle of being a woman. We're going to experience it at one point in our lives. But yet I feel like it's still not talked about enough. But now October is a month dedicated for menopause awareness. Laura, what are the main messages that we're trying to get across here? Because it's something that happens throughout. It's not just 1 month, right?
No, it isn't. And there should be a menopause awareness year, I think. You know, every day should be Menopause Day. It is great that we have a month dedicated to it. And I suppose what we're trying to get out there is that it is a normal part of a woman's life, like you just said, and that many women will go through it and they'll be fine. Others may not be so fine and they'll need an awful lot of support. And then others will just muddle through it and they will need help at different stages. So every woman's menopause is different. Everyone's perimenopause is different, and it's just important that they know that there is help out there for the various symptoms that can occur in their lives when they are going through it.
Yeah, and like you said, it's so important to talk about it so women don't feel like they're going through it on their own. We were just discussing before we came on air there some of the symptoms, and one of them is leaky bladders. So how common is a leaky bladder in menopause?
So 1 in 2 women will experience leaky bladder during and post-menopausally, and you know, people are quite shocked at that. And it's something that isn't talked about, I suppose, because there's an embarrassment and a shame around it. It's quite a taboo topic. People don't like to admit that they might be leaking when it's actually something that's so very common. And there are ways of managing it, and there are ways to help to prevent it and to reduce the amount of leaking that a woman might have. So it's great that we're talking about these things, but it can so affect a woman's quality of life. You know, I know many women that might wear dark clothes only because if they do leak, they're worried that it might stay in their clothes and might be visible. They might avoid exercising because they'll leak. They can't maybe walk 5 metres without feeling that they leak, or run. And, you know, that's affecting their quality of life as well. Women should be exercising.
You're already thinking, where's the closest bathroom?
Well, that's it. If they go shopping, they'll need to know where the nearest bathroom is. They may not get up and dance at their daughter's wedding. Like, it can affect so much of their life. But there are so many ways that they can manage it. And there's ways that they can help to reduce it as well, in terms of going to a woman's health physio and getting proper pelvic floor exercises shown to them. Loads of ways.
I do know, like, pelvic floor exercises is highly recommended, but not that many people would go down that route, and it is something that is encouraged. But are there any other practical solutions that people can use for leaky bladder?
There are indeed. Obviously, there's the pads here, and we're here with Always Discreet, and they do a variety of pads. So they do from the very thin liners all the way up to pants. And it's important that people use proper products for urinary leaking, because the period products will be something that people might turn to for that, but actually they are designed for a different consistency of a liquid. So blood is very different consistency to urine. They both smell differently. So it's important that we use the proper products for that. And then also on the Always Discreet Menopause Hub on their website, they have lots of ideas for women that they can help help them with their pelvic floor exercises as well, and tips and tricks from other professionals. So really good resource there too.
Okay. And then another symptom that women can see in menopause is thinner hair.
Yeah, I know, and kind of itchy scalp. And, you know, hair thinning is, female pattern hair loss is a normal part of life for many women. Again, to do with hormonal changes. And they can also get itchy scalp as well, as something that they might see. They might see itchy, dry skin too. So there is a number of those symptoms that can be quite upsetting for women to experience.
Because that could affect your confidence, you know?
Absolutely,
So what would you be recommending that people use for that?
Well, first of all, they should really be trying with a good, healthy diet. You know, that's really first and foremost. They should be trying to get their sleep, trying to get their exercise in, obviously. But in terms of practical use and products, they can use something like this, the Pantene Hair Biology, specifically for menopausal hair, for menopausal scalp, to help to soothe the scalp and help to kind of smooth out the hair and even kind of give the appearance of a more volume as well.
Okay.
It's mad because I know when I think menopause, like the common symptoms that I think about are the hot flushes, maybe the brain fog, pain, the leaky bladder, but skin and hair is something that I did not know was a symptom. But,
I know.
But dry skin too comes into it as well.
Absolutely. Dry skin is a huge part of it. And, you know, a lot of women will say, oh my goodness, I feel my skin just aged 10 years overnight. And it's important that they know that there are products out there like the collagen peptide from Olay is a lovely product to use. It's not a break the bank product either, so they can put it on and feel like as if they're giving their skin that nourishment and hydration that it needs. And, you know, it is important as well that if a woman is experiencing issues, that they do go and see their GP and they do talk to a professional about it, because there's loads of things that can be given to ladies to help them through it. And then also, you know, underlying issues such as thyroid can be symptomatic of, you know, thinning hair and dry skin too. So it's really important that they get the full MOT, the full checkup, so they can go on and enjoy their years. And I think that sometimes there's too much negativity around menopause. Like, it can be a wonderful time in a woman's life too, so long as she knows how to manage it and she's the support of family and friends around her too. It doesn't all have to be negative, but so long as we know what to expect, I think we can be much more empowered.
I love to hear you say that, you know, that it can be a positive and joyous time in a women's life, because I feel sometimes there is a negative cloud hanging over
it's like something you almost dread.
Yeah, so how do you embrace the menopause?
I know, embrace it by just, do you know how you embrace it? By learning about it, learning what the potential, what can happen, and then how to alleviate those symptoms too. Talking about it to people, to family, to friends, to your girlfriends. You know, you'd be surprised. You know, when you get a bunch of girls yapping, you know, and then we all share. I'm sure I came in here this morning and you girls were giggling away and making a great crack. But there's no better therapy than talking to friends. But also friends and other girlfriends that have been through it or that are going through it will have tricks for you and tips for you as well, even down to like what doctor they might go to that they might find really, really good and, you know, really empowering too. So all of those things are so very important. And like, let it be something to celebrate rather than something to have, like the dark cloud that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many other avenues. I'm sure a woman might live a third of her life in menopause, so she needs to be doing it right, doesn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Laura, one more time, this product that you mentioned, what was it again? For the dry skin?
Collagen Peptide 24 from Olay, so it's for the dry skin, so just make sure that the ladies are putting it on.
Lots of moisture.
Yeah, and also like to give their skincare that time, you know, to like give yourself a little facial.
It's for self-care too.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.
You're welcome.
Now, and just a reminder, as a first step, if you have any concerns regarding bladder weakness or pelvic floor discomfort, we always recommend speaking to your GP.
Now, after the break, this might not be one for the kids.
No, we're highlighting the best scary movies in the cinema and on telly this Halloween. I don't know why I did that. Stay with us.
Welcome back. 'Tis the season for a good scare, so we thought we'd bring in the expert on all things horror.
Yes, movie buff Roy Cashin from Joe.ie has all the latest and all the spooky movies.
Even the spooky ones.
Spooky movies coming to cinemas and tellies this weekend. So if there's a loved one you fancy traumatising this weekend, start taking notes.
And just a word of warning, you might want to change the channel, or at least get the little ones out of the room, right? Because we are going to be showing clips from some of these movies. Anyway, Rory, good to see you, sir. You do like scary movies.
I love a good scary movie. Yeah, like when a scary movie's really good, everyone wants to go see it, because if there's word of mouth that there's a very scary movie, everyone wants to be in that communal experience. You all want to scream at once, and you want to be giggling afterwards when the fears died down. And then if it's a bad horror movie, chances are a bad horror movie will be one of those so bad it's good experiences that again you're going to laugh all the way through.
Exactly.
What are we starting with?
We'll do cinema first.
Yeah.
So the cinema picks this year haven't been exceptional.
Okay.
So the best of the new releases in cinemas, unbelievably, is Saw X.
Okay.
Right.
So this is the 10th movie in this whole thing.
Numerically, it's the 10th, but
Okay.
somehow it takes place in between Saw 1 and Saw 2.
Of course.
Okay.
Because the lead character, he's killed off later in the series, so we actually get to go back with Tobin Bell as Jigsaw, and we get to see more of why he has decided to create the traps, and who he has decided to essentially torture. So, like this Halloween season, the new releases was the new Exorcist, which wasn't great. Five Nights at Freddy's is the big horror this weekend. It's not great. So this is the new horror this year that I reckon is the best that's still in cinemas.
Now, does this maybe bring up a little bit of empathy for Jigsaw if we see his backstory?
It does a little bit. Like he overreacts when people do him wrong, because he ends up killing them.
Yes.
Which, isn't probably the right thing to do.
No,
but
no.
cinematically for us, it's the most entertaining thing to do. So
Okay.
Something that younger, not the smallest ones can watch, but maybe a younger audience can wrap their eyes around is Beetlejuice.
Yes. So if you look around Ireland, cinemas are doing their own way of celebrating Halloween this year. Like the IFI has the Horror-thon, the Lighthouse and the Palace have horror seasons, they still have horror seasons. But the reason I'm focusing on Beetlejuice is two reasons. One, it's 35-year anniversary this year, unbelievably. And two, I think this has the widest release around Ireland, because I know most Omniplex cinemas are showing it, and I know some Odeon cinemas are showing it pretty much every day between now and Halloween. So this is one of the better examples of a family-friendly horror. It's one of Tim Burton's first movies. Michael Keaton
It's just
burns a hole in the screen in this movie, and it's incredible. And I think next year, if the actors' strike all works out, we will be getting Beetlejuice too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's exciting.
He's not in this movie for very long.
He isn't, and every time he's not, you're like, where's Michael Keaton? But when he does come back, it's exceptional.
It's memorable.
It's so good.
Okay, and I'd love to hear that that's being showed across in cinemas again this year. Let's move on to streaming. So if people want to just snuggle up at home and get this fright of their life on their sofa.
Yeah, so the first one I would recommend is a horror film called Talk to Me, which has just been added to Netflix, I think, like 2 or 3 days ago. It was released in cinemas earlier this year, so I was actually surprised that it turned up on Netflix this quickly. And it deals with a group of teenagers who discover a weird haunted hand. There it is.
Oh, yes.
And they're told that if they hold the hand and do a particular seance-y type of thing...
So there's a Ouija board.
Essentially, right. But they'll be able to...
Are you out? Oh, you're out. Okay.
They'll be able to converse with the dead. And the lead character, she has someone particular that she wants to talk to, and she's convinced she is talking to them, but it turns out she might not actually be talking to that ghost.
All right.
And it all kind of goes sideways and everyone from there. So some people have called it the scariest film of 2023 so far.
Would you call it that?
It's in the top 5 in terms of best scary movies of the year.
Okay.
So
I've got 3 people in my family who are already making notes saying, I have to watch this. The other one is No One Will Save You.
Yeah, so No One Will Save You is the film I reckon that the least people will have seen, the least people will have heard about. For me, it came out of absolutely nowhere. The trailer that was launched before it wasn't a great trailer, so I was like, meh. And then when I finally did see it, it turned out to be the best surprising scary movie of the year. Caitlin Dever, who is fantastic in Booksmart, and she's in Dope Sick. She's an incredible actress.
She is.
She wakes up in the middle of the night. There's noises downstairs. She goes to investigate. And I don't know how much to give away or how much to not give away.
I'm getting scared just looking at the clip.
But let's just say there is something else in the house, and even her escaping from her home isn't enough to get away from what's actually there.
Okay, and that's movie as well. Is that scarier now than Talk to Me?
I think this is more jump scary.
Okay.
Like it's more sudden, loud bangs, and it's on Disney Plus, by the way.
That's
that
Disney
one.
Plus.
Whereas Talk to Me will keep you up at night.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So neither of them. No, but the thing, if it goes straight to a streaming service, you do wonder, is it that good?
If that had gone to cinemas this Halloween weekend, it would have been huge. It would have been a huge box office hit. So sometimes I think they just kind of hedge their bets. But on that one, if you haven't seen it, you haven't heard of it, highly recommend
Okay, the trailer scared the bejesus out of me.
I was almost gone, like jeepers.
Okay, so what's on the telly?
Right, so we've got another family-friendly one. It's a case for me where I think the sequel's actually better than the original, and it's Addams Family Values.
Yeah.
It's on tomorrow, Sunday, 5:45 on Channel 4. It's the one where Uncle Fester gets a girlfriend, and it turns out the girlfriend is she's got plans on his money, on the entire family value money, and she's going to do anything she can to get that money.
That sounds more like a rom-com than a scary movie to me.
But it's the Addams Family.
Yeah. And like they've been huge recently again, thanks to the Wednesday show.
Of course, on Netflix.
I think every niece I have is dressing up as Wednesday Addams this Halloween.
There were a lot of them yesterday going to school.
You're either a Wednesday Addams or a Barbie this year, aren't you?
Exactly.
And
So,
John Cusack is the gold digger.
oh yeah, and Angelica Houston just as Morticia, she was just perfect.
Perfect. One that the kids will certainly not be sitting down to watch is your last pick.
Yeah, so 7 is on Virgin Media 1, Monday at 10 o'clock. It is one of the best serial killer thrillers ever. The director, David Fincher, has a new movie in cinemas this weekend called The Killer with Michael Fassbender, which if you're looking for something else to watch. It's not a horror, but it is very good.
7 is the one with Brad Pitt.
7's Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and a killer who is basing his murders on the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, I came across this show once when I was early teens, and I didn't know what it was.
And did you watch it?
I started to.
Are you still doing therapy?
You don't really want to accidentally stumble across a horror on when you're looking for something to watch.
And you think it's an easy in because it's Brad Pitt. You'd be like, oh, how bad can this be?
Yeah, I'm obviously going to stay watching
It's
with
a
Brad
movie
Pitt.
where him and Gwyneth Paltrow were very much an item.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's such a good film now.
Okay, excellent. Well, Rory, I'm looking forward to getting scared for the weekend. Thank you so much.
Yeah, put the toilet paper in the freezer if it's that weekend. Great to see you. All right, still to come this morning, we've advice on helping your smallies adjust to the clocks going back.
Plus, myself and Katia get our shimmy on with the Burlesque Masterclass. We're back after this break.
All right, let's take a look at your morning papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. The headline, Israel pounds Gaza as UN calls for truce. They report that Israel pounded Gaza last night from the air, sea and ground with unprecedented ferocity, knocking out communication systems and internet networks across the coastal enclave.
RTE knew it had made pay error before Tubridy named and shamed. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. They write that RTE's board knew a €120,000 error over Ryan Tubridy's pay was the station's fault before naming and shaming their star.
The Examiner goes with the headline, Judge warns of toxic drug danger. They go on to write that a retired Cork judge has expressed concern at the potential impact that toxic synthetic opiates would have if they were used by drug dealers to fill any future gap in the heroin market.
On to the tabloids now, and the Herald leads with blood match to DNA under Aisling's nails. They report that a male DNA profile found under the fingernails of Aisling Murphy matched blood samples taken from the murder accused, a court heard yesterday.
The front page of the Mirror leads with the same story too. DNA under Aisling's nails. They write that an expert claimed the possibility of DNA found under the nails of Aisling Murphy belonging to anyone other than a relative of the murder accused was 1 in 14,000.
The Star goes with the headline, Daylight Robbery. They write that a fuming MEP says putting clocks back is making us all sick.
And the Daily Mail leads with reports into RTE scandals cost 2.3 million so far. They report that the government and RTE are spending over €2 million on a colossal series of reviews to tackle a lack of governance and financial mismanagement at the broadcaster, which members of the Public Accounts Committee have described as outrageous.
And finally, The Sun lead with Cash is Kin. They report that hit Irish crime drama Kin has been saved after it was snapped for a prime slot on BBC One. Great news.
Now, before we delve into the text, we were sent in a gorgeous photo from a gentleman named Richard Cullen yesterday, who wants to wish a happy wedding anniversary to himself and his lovely wife, Susan, who are celebrating 5 years of marriage together today. Oh, look at that photo.
Congratulations,
Oh, congratulations.
guys.
We hope you have a wonderful day together.
Oh, yeah,
Beautiful couple.
Day.
Happy
It's a bank holiday weekend. They need to celebrate it for the weekend.
Go wild.
Keep going till next week. Absolutely. Happy anniversary.
Now, we've loads of texts in now about our modern fears. Speaking of fears, that massive spider on the table.
You're not happy?
I know Abby, our makeup artist, is petrified of spiders, so that's probably why she has.
Well, we need to put that into our car.
Yeah, there should be a trigger warning for the
Abby,
decorations
if you're
today.
watching, watch out. Okay, Luke texted in and he says, "Hey guys, my fear is being late.
Hello, Luke.
Hello, Luke. Turn up for a meeting or an event 30 to 45 minutes early, and with a flight 2.5 hours beforehand.
You're mad.
I never like being late and set a time for everything." Yes, that's very much like you.
That's
Do you
very
feel seen?
me. I do. I feel seen. I feel heard. Thank you, Luke. You've made my weekend.
Yeah, you know, Dara, my partner, is exactly like this. I'd say it's probably the one thing we argue about the most.
But there's one in every relationship. There's one of each.
Yes.
I remember being told on a TV show right here, we had somebody in from Air Rienta and we asked, how long do you need to be in the airport before a flight? 3 hours before transatlantic, 2 hours before short haul. And we said, no, how long? And we persisted and persisted. He said, all right. 60 minutes if you're flying to Europe, 75 minutes if you're flying transatlantic.
I've made it on 60 minutes.
I'd rather just be not stressed and comfortable.
75 minutes. Now, he did say 75 minutes. That means you don't stop at a shop, you don't stop for a coffee, you don't stop for food, straight through each queue and down to the plane. So there you go.
Mary texts in saying, I don't fear anything. What happens will happen. Very philosophical. I was stuck in a lift for an hour in 1976 with 12 other people. I knew we would be rescued eventually.
Wow.
That's a brave woman.
That's good.
I love that mentality.
Yeah. That's a good, positive
cool
attitude, just as long as nobody in the lift had a curry. You're all right. You can wait to be saved. It's all right.
Dan says, losing my smartphone.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's a very common one.
I think we just rely on it a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you know
everything's on our smartphone.
You mentioned it earlier. I was going to the bank yesterday and my phone froze and I was like, I can't go because all the details I need are on my phone.
Yes.
So... I mean, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't, like, shaking
It's like the loss of a limb.
Yeah.
Yeah, for so many people these days.
Yeah, you have a phantom phone when you don't have it.
Now, guys, some news for you astrology lovers out there. A partial lunar eclipse will be visible from Ireland tonight. A small bite will be taken out of the moon tonight for about 80 minutes. Now, I guess it probably depends where you are in Ireland or if it's cloudy or not.
I think it's going to be cloudy.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Well, Astronomy Ireland, you know, they're friends of the show. They're asking you guys at home to take pictures, capture this event, because it won't happen again until March of next year. So, you know David Moore, he's always on here.
He's great.
He is great. And he says about 12% of the moon's diameter will be in the Earth's shadow around 9:15 this evening.
Okay.
So get your phones out.
It's going to be forward. It's going to look like somebody took a bite out of the moon.
Yeah, but it's going to be really cool.
Is that not during the final, the Rugby World Cup final?
We're not there. We're not in it. You might as well go out and look at the sky.
Got more and more.
Look at the sky.
I'm looking at a screen and not the sky.
Go out at half time.
Yeah,
It needs to be.
Okay.
And take a look.
Fair enough.
Taylor Swift is very much in the news as well.
Oh.
I think
Is she ever not in the news?
Yeah, I know.
She's dating a new NFL guy now.
Yeah,
isn't she?
yeah,
That's
Travis
right.
Kelce. Yeah.
But apparently, she's made a lot of money in the last 12 months.
Oh, yeah?
It's reckoned her value has gone up by $5 billion.
She's
billion.
Taylor Swift's a billionaire.
Now, this was carried out in America, but it takes everything into account. You know the way she re-recorded all her albums?
Yeah.
She's got 5 very lavish homes.
She owns the rights to her songs now
She
as well,
owns
doesn't
everything.
she?
So between that and Eros,
the tour.
Yeah.
you can't get a ticket. It's in cinemas, you can't get a ticket.
Yeah.
But between all of that, she's added $4 billion to the economy in America. So it's
play to
just
the woman.
crazy. Yeah.
I want to see what I'd love to see her giving back with a lot of that now as well, because like she doesn't need that.
She doesn't need it. No one needs that much.
4
money
years' time, it would be Taylor for president.
My
Just watch.
IBAN is...
Details below.
Oh, yeah, and mine too. Thank you very much. Up next, as the clocks go back tonight, we've expert sleep advice for helping your children to adjust to a new routine. We'll be back with you after this one. Back. Tonight, the clocks will go back, but for parents of young children, the prospect of an extra hour in bed is the last thing on their minds.
Yes, the changing time can completely throw your child's sleep schedule off course. So how do we ensure that that is not the case? Sleep expert Lucy Wolfe joins us now with her advice. Good morning, Lucy.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Excellent. So tell us, how are children and babies affected by this time change? Because it's only an hour.
That's right. I suppose the biggest problem for this time of year is that when the clocks go back, if your child's been sleeping till 6 or 7 o'clock, that's 5 or 6 o'clock on the new time.
Right.
And young children may just wake up naturally having gone to bed at their usual time the night before. And it's that I feel, in the most part, concerns parents. Because with young children, unlike adults, you know, they're very young children, they've got really small wake periods, and so they get deeply affected by becoming overtired, and that can lead to sleep resistance, which then in turn has a knock-on effect of giving us more disturbed sleep. So I think that's where the root of the concern is. Although, that said, I would be still inclined to say not to worry hugely about this. You know, because it's going to happen, and, you know, we are going to be able to work through it. And the big thing is that we don't really want the time change to do anything for us. So we don't want to establish a later bedtime, and we don't necessarily want to establish an earlier wake time, or we just want to be no worse off by the end of the week as this week unfolds. And I think that's the main message. And then encompassed in that, you know, there's a few things that parents can do to maybe safeguard this particular transition.
Can we prepare the kids for this?
Yeah, we absolutely can. Some parents actually will already have been preparing earlier this week. So a lot of parents have been moving their you know, their current schedule, if that's what you want to call it, you know, 15 or 20 minutes, so that by tomorrow they're on, you know, the new time, if that makes any sense. But again, some parents are just watching this morning and they just realise that it's a time change. And again, there's no real need to worry. You could tonight go to bed a little bit later. You know, you could do that. But in the most part, what I encourage parents to do is just wait until tomorrow. And just judge it. See what time your child does wake up at.
Yes.
You know, and what time is it on the clock versus yesterday's time.
And then you can adjust post
and
time change.
kind of take it from there. One thing I might suggest is that, you know, if you've got a child who's waking relatively early, you know, we consider 6 o'clock onwards to be fairly standard for a young child. And some parents watching this morning will be like, oh my goodness, that would be a lie-in.
Yes, I wish.
And some parents would be like, oh my goodness, I can't. My child always sleeps till 7 or 7:30 or even later than that, Whatever time your child normally wakes at, just tomorrow morning, if they're a relatively early waker, maybe try not to start the day much before 5:30 new time, because that's 5:30 old time, if that makes any sense to you. What you might do, even if your child is awake, just keep them in the darkened room. You know, even play with them, and then don't get them up and then expose them to bright and natural light, because we can start to help, you know, the body clock by light exposure, and then the reverse of that is by introducing the dimmer light when it is time to sleep. Martin, you look totally shocked at the thought of those times.
I'm just the thought of, you know, so we've got to lie in, we've an extra hour. We can sleep for an extra hour. Just shows the sign of our ages. It used to be we can go out clubbing for an extra hour. Now we can sleep for an extra hour. The thought of being awake at 5:30 when you could be in bed till 6:30.
But you've done your time, and I suppose this is what some of the, you know, the parents of young children are experiencing, and some of them aren't, and let's be fair about that. But just like that, you know, tomorrow, just split the difference maybe between the old time and the new time.
Should we? No, obviously not with infants you can't, but with 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, you might have a slightly better understanding. Should we be making them aware that this is what's happening?
I'm not sure if you'd really need to, Martin. Like, certainly it's not, you know, it's a good dinner conversation, but ultimately it's a construct, and they're not really maybe going to understand that.
Fiddlers.
But, you know, again, like that, the other thing you can do tomorrow is nothing. you know, just see what time, you know, and just wing it a little bit. And you know your own child best, you know, in terms of their temperament, you know, how they are generally reactive to being overtired or not. And then just kind of work through the rest of this week, which is a big week for young children as well with Halloween.
Yeah, of course, of course. So how long then would it take a child, do you think, to adjust to this new sleeping schedule of this hour?
Yeah, I think by the end of the week, most children have kind of settled back into what they would have been doing the week before. It's just like obviously on the different time on the clock. And again, you know, some parents might say, oh my goodness, it made a big difference to us. Or some parents will say that they're still struggling with early rising in a couple of weeks' time. But sometimes that early rising has a different source. It's just been initiated by the time change itself, because sleep is hugely determined and influenced by the circadian rhythm. And as a result of that, that's light and that's dark. And then again, time for sleep before I'm overtired and before, you know, and not undertired. But then you've got all the other components, like, you know, let's say how the child experiences their sleep. You know, how do they get to sleep in the first place, and what do they need from the parent to get back to sleep, if anything, throughout the course of the night. And sometimes a time change might actually expose some of those vulnerabilities. And as a result, we start to see some sleep challenges emerge. But again, this is a good opportunity that if, let's say, the time change does all of a sudden, you know, make it look like, oh my God, everything changed. It was just hiding in the long grass. You know, that was going to happen anyway. So again, what you can start to do is begin to introduce, you know, some of my positive sleep practices that generally help. An early bedtime is always a really good way of helping reset things. So, you know, just forget the time change, just work on your child's sleep cues. You know, what do they do before they start to get overtired? You know, just brief eye rubs, brief yawns, moments of quiet. Try to avoid, you know, when they become, you know, intense. And then you do that lovely reset and then begin to put a little plan in place.
Okay, well, by 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, it's going to be dark, because our clocks are going back. So yeah, they may want to go to bed that bit earlier.
And, you know, this time of year just kind of fosters, you know, that we sometimes light the fire, everything kind of closes down a little bit. We were not as busy because it is dark. And that can often be really helpful for initiating those slightly earlier bedtimes.
Yes, I was going to say, should people utilise this time in trying to introduce an earlier bedtime for trying to get their child to sleep a little bit longer?
Yeah, like I'm a big advocate of an earlier bedtime for no other reason than it's a big predictor for more sleep, for more consolidated sleep, in a lot of instances. And this is a perfect opportunity. Obviously, modern life means that we've got high, you know, lights in the ceiling, and obviously you know, everything's on a 24-hour basis. But again, the light in the ceiling is like the sun. So again, that is skewing with the circadian rhythm, which is often then delaying sleep. So it's a lovely opportunity to use the lamp lighting when we're downstairs in the evening time. Like, you don't need to slow everything down, but your environment can be slowed down by doing those things.
Love that.
I'm getting sleepy just listening to you.
But I don't know if that's good or bad, though, Martin.
There's still an hour and a half to go.
So ambient lighting.
Yeah.
Is good.
And then you see, then you can kind of take that and look, I'm obviously going to always be a big proponent of bedtime rituals where we take a child to the bedroom that they sleep in, so that we have this kind of logical and linear aspect of we go upstairs or into the living, you know, into the bedroom, and then in the bedroom that they sleep in, they have their lovely connected interactive bedtime routine, and then we can get into their cot or their bed as appropriate. And there's lots of parts to that to really help, you know, foster connection, induce that relaxing, you know, enhance the sleep hormone melatonin, and again gives us that opportunity to make a nice smooth transition.
Great. I asked at the start how babies were affected by this, but maybe we should have asked how parents are affected by these sleep changes. But
and we are.
Yeah. Oh, I'd say
and the babies are oblivious.
I know. But the good news is you said it takes a week, hopefully just a week for them to settle in. So that's great news for all the parents out there. Lucy Wolfe, thank you so much for chatting to us today.
And enjoy the extra hour sleep tonight.
I will.
Up next, Spice Baby. Yes, we're making one of the nation's favourite takeaways, but we're doing it as a fakeaway. Yes, we're in the kitchen after this break.
You're very welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, it might not be like Chinese takeaway, but it won't stop us from being the nation's favourite takeaway, because you really can't beat a spice bag.
But you can. You can. And we're going to do it now. Joining us now with her recipe for a spice bag that you can make in the comfort of your own home is Fiona Uyema from Fused by Fiona. And Fiona, I'm actually going to help out.
Brilliant.
Okay.
I'm delighted.
So this is a fakeaway, which you said can be made before the takeaway arrives and the bell rings.
Exactly. So we need to get.
Let's get going.
Okay.
So what are we doing first?
So there's 3 parts. You have the chicken. I cut them into strips. Chicken breast, cut into strips, nice and thinly. You were saying the homemade chips.
Proper chips, not those skinny little things. Proper
chips.
Chunky chips.
You peel the potatoes, you chop them up, proper jobs.
Exactly. And the third thing then is a little bit of mixed veg, like peppers, onions, chilli, you know. And this is what you traditionally see. Sometimes people add garlic. I prefer to leave it off.
Yeah. Okay.
But, you know, so
is garlic a bit too overpowering for the spice bag?
I think it is for me.
Yeah.
But I love the onion and the peppers and then a little bit of chilli. I think that's enough. But you want to season the chicken breast because chicken breast doesn't have a lot of flavour and it's a bit dry. So you just want the soy sauce just does that for it. It's brilliant. And then, so I double up on the spice mix, right? It's a Chinese spice mix and it's essentially, you can make any type you want or you can buy one, but it's essentially like a 5-spice, some chili flakes, some sea salt. So it's just adding a very rounded flavour. Now, not everyone does this, but I season the chips and the chicken
as well.
Raw with the spice mix, like here. And I also then season them afterwards. You know.
And Fiona, would you need time to have the marinade, like the chips and the chicken, or can you just apply the seasoning and off you go? You
could leave them, and that'd be perfectly fine, but you don't have to.
You put on potato starch.
So when I lived in...
I'm surprised, I'm just wondering why.
So in Japan and in China as well, I lived in Japan, but they always use potato starch. In Ireland, we tend to have more corn flour, but actually recently we have Irish potato starch because we've lots of potatoes. So I prefer potato starch personally, but for anyone at home, if you have corn flour, use that as well.
And what's that going to do? Is that going to give a
just gives
crunch?
that lovely, crispy, light flavour. It's not heavy, it's not a batter. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So look, there it is. That's it, ready. So you put that in the oven or the air fryer with a drizzle of oil.
You love your air fryer.
I love my air fryer.
She loves her air fryer.
I'm going to show you one.
She's buying her air fryer Christmas present.
Giving it to my family, actually, as Christmas present. But I'm going to get you to season the chips.
Oil first.
Oil. I use olive oil because it can take olive oil, but you can use any oil you like. And then you can add as much of the spice bag mix as you like. Few teaspoons, few tablespoons, whatever do you like. Lots of flavour, just a little bit. It's up to you. That's the great thing about it. So whatever you would... look at this, very professional.
And you're saying going into it?
Martin, I can tell you've done this at home.
Sure, don't you know?
So you just give that a stir then, Martin, and that's your chips. Now, some people will say, oh, do I need to parboil my chips? Do I need to put them in the microwave? For me, it's all about simplicity. I preheat my air fryer or oven and then add the chips.
And would you have to give it a longer cooking time? Or
if it's preheated at 200, in and around 30 minutes. 30 to 40 minutes in an oven, in an air fryer, 20 to 30 minutes. So,
because I don't think I've ever even used, preheated my air fryer. I didn't know that was a thing that you had to do or you could try.
It just means the food cooks faster. So it's not what it's all about.
Sorry, Chef.
So, Martin, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Brilliant. So we have the chicken, we have the chips, and we just explained you heat, preheat. But the third step is now you're going to bring it all together. So I have cooked my chips and chicken in the air fryer.
All right.
So I've one I've done earlier. But now we're going to bring it all together. So you could you don't have
just water.
That's vegetable oil.
That's vegetable oil.
Because I'm bringing it to a really high heating point, this is why I use vegetable oil for this part rather than olive oil. So you put your hand over the pan, you want it nice and hot.
Over, not in.
Not in, definitely not in. So we're adding in the onions. Might just splatter a bit there. And the peppers.
But it's instantly sizzling.
And that's what you want, isn't it?
You want the heat.
Yeah.
And they're not pre-seasoned vegetables or anything like that?
No, but again, if you really want to go, you could add a bit of seasoning in there as well.
And I see you throw in some chilies as well.
Chilies are going in and the seeds are included.
Yes, definitely. You'll have to watch out for this now, guys. And I always find you need to kind of move a bit back from the wok when you're throwing chili, because if you swallow, you start coughing. But that's it. Just really nice. And Martin, I'll just get you to add a little bit of seasoning in there. I think
this business again.
Yeah.
All right.
Just a little bit.
Chef.
Oh, just a little bit or a lot?
And he does a very professional chef sprinkle there.
Oh!
Well, yeah, you know, after many years working between 6 o'clock show and this, you do pick up a few
You pick up
bits.
tips, don't you?
So
yeah.
you do.
Yeah. So there you go. Now, I like this really
get that
crunchy.
smell. Gorgeous.
Getting the smell.
Delicious.
Yeah. So I love it, the onions crunchy and the peppers crunchy.
Yes.
Some people might like them overcooked.
Yeah.
That's the way I like them. So everyone to their own.
Did you overcooked? She didn't say translucent.
Yes.
She said
They're
overcooked.
overcooked at that point. Yeah, we don't want that.
So this is the grand reveal. So these are ones that I made earlier, right?
Ooh, let's have a
so
look.
that's chips.
Wow.
And they're gorgeous because I also find the seasoning protects them a little bit.
Yeah.
And
So
you can see what the potato starch has done with the with the chicken pieces.
exactly, like they're just so crunchy and they just have been sitting there and you can still see that they're crunchy. So we're going to add these in. And that's now it's just all about bringing it together.
Yeah. And did you make one for Katya?
We're teasing Katia with the food here, so we have to give you some.
Martin, that's mine. I hope you fully know that's
Oh,
mine.
there's going to be a fight now.
So now it's...
Shiva's going to be doing the burlesque on her own. We'll be out in the car park fighting over the spice bag.
Meet me outside.
So the whole of Ireland, hopefully, will be making this at the weekend for Halloween. So look, like it's that easy. You just bring it all together. And then when you're serving it up, I sometimes just get a bit of parchment paper just to get that real kind of takeaway feel.
Oh, see?
And stitch it on that.
Yeah.
You're transporting us to Fiona's Fakeaway takeaway.
This is why she's on the big money.
Yeah.
Because she thinks of these things that we wouldn't have thought
thinks
of.
of these.
Sometimes it's the little details, isn't it?
Absolutely is. And this doesn't need more than that much.
Are you sure?
I'll take the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, Kat.
Oh, thanks. A chip. Thank you. You're so kind.
You're so welcome. Just give us the wok.
Martin, you didn't give me any chicken in this. You didn't give me any chicken.
Oh my God, you have to get the chicken.
The
Come back
audacity
here.
of you.
That's my favourite part. He's keeping it all for himself.
So demanding. This
So
one.
you can
so
test it then for taste, and if you want, then at that point you can add more seasoning. So you know you're just adding it along the way. If I was making for the kids, I'd pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
But certainly for myself, I add more. I add a sprinkle over that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. So good.
It's really good.
So good.
And it's so easy. It really is.
It's so easy. And like
Really
you said, by the time you order one and it arrives, this is done.
And you'll feel good after it.
I think I'm going to make this on Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, full recipe details are up on our website. Of course, you can always visit fusedbyfionauyema.com for more of Fiona's delicious recipes.
Up next, myself and Shiva learn how to shimmy and shake and strut our stuff. We're burlesque dancing right after this break.
I'm having this spice bag.
Moulin Rouge in Paris or something. That was
fantastic.
Yes, I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more about this.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
if you couldn't tell, we're shimming our way into the weekend with some burlesque dancing. This morning we're joined by Dee Keaveney, Ireland's own award-winning burlesque performer.
And she's about to show us some moves. We're going to wish her the best of luck because you're definitely going to need it teaching us. But first, let's talk about you. You've actually recently been engaged.
Yes,
so
I did.
You're the outside line. Tell us about this.
So we were on holiday in New York. It's a very special place for me. I spent some time there in my early 20s. And
Last week.
Yeah, sure, last week. And yeah, it was a total shock. We had a lovely dinner in Dumbo, which is down by the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was deserted almost because it was nearly midnight, so we went for a nice romantic stroll by the river.
There it is.
And, there we are. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, huge congratulations,
And,
Dee.
It looks like he rented that whole space out.
It does look like it, yeah, because it's normally like crazy busy around that part of the city.
He did good.
Yeah,
he did good. Oh, that's amazing news. So, what are you teaching us? Let's start with the first move, shall
Yes,
we?
let's. So let me pop my gloves back on.
Do that.
That was very slick how you took them off.
Yes.
How did you get into dancing in the first place, Dee?
So that's a great question. It all goes back to my mother, who put me into ballet classes when I was a little tot, so I didn't even know, wasn't even my idea really. And I danced all the way up through my teenage years. I went to college for dance. I trained professionally in Dublin and New York, which is how I was there in the first place. And yeah, I moved back to Ireland from London then in 2019 after just a wild couple of years. And I kind of fell into it almost. Right. I knew a producer in Galway City who I had done some like go-go dancing gigs before. Yeah. And he said, oh, you're back. Right, well, there's a show in 2 weeks. Come and do 2 performances, whatever you want. And I had wanted to get into burlesque for a while. And I said, okay, this is it. This is the time. No going back.
That's
just
your window.
jump right in.
So you had the foundations of dancing, but 2019, that's relatively recent.
It is recent
You
enough.
were living in London, and you said it did take a toll on your mental health, but tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so like I was, doing the typical struggling artist thing. I was working like, day jobs, trying to get to auditions, just like hustling constantly. And I kind of just burnt out really. And I said, I'm just going to go home for a while, get myself together, see what I want to do next. I was kind of half thinking of moving to Australia. But yeah, it just kind of all turned around for me in the best possible way, and I haven't looked back since.
And then you found burlesque. And now we're about to find burlesque, I believe.
Yes,
Go on, Dee. What's our first move?
Okay, so our first move is a bump and grind, which is very easy. Okay.
I think I've done one of them before.
Yeah, right. I think it might be familiar to some people. So you're going to hit the right hip forward. You can have the hands on the head. You're going to go hit, hit, hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit.
Yes.
Hit.
You've done this before. Come on. And then that's our bump.
Never on
and then
TV.
our grind. You're going to circle the hip around. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you
So
can
a bit
take
of
the
a
hands
roly-poly.
down over the body while you're doing the grind.
Right. All together. Okay.
All together. So that's going to go bump, 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 grind, and grind. Oh. Yeah. Don't be shy to touch some junk, It's your body, right? Then we're going to go the same to the other side. So we're going to go bump, 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 grind, grind. Yes. Then we're going to do a step touch. So we're going to step to the right, step, touch with other foot. Right arm is going to come up. Opposite way then.
Pop the little toe, is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
So a little step touch. Classic mom at the weddings, So we're going right, left. Then you're going to take the left arm across and pull it down the arm. Yes.
Oh, wait, what were you doing with your legs there? That was very funky.
Cat's
So
getting
after
into
we've
it.
gone step touch, when you're taking the arm down, you can just bend into this leg, because I've got a little slit situation happening here, so I want to show
we
that
didn't
off.
get the memo about the slit.
So you're coming down, 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 and then you're going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So we're going to go left, right, and then take it down the other arm.
Okay, can we try all that from the beginning
Yes,
then?
let's
try
go from
that
the
all
beginning.
together. Okay, so
We're going.
I can remember.
Okay, bump, 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 and grind, and grind. The other side, and bump, 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 and grind, and grind. Yes, and stepping to the right, up, and left. Take it down. I'm doing some spirit fingers here, which is fun. Then left and right. Take it down, down, down. Yes.
Now, you have a workshop coming up.
I do have a
teaching
workshop.
beginners.
Yes, exactly.
Well, is it for beginners or for...
It is for absolutely all levels. So it is happening tomorrow. The last time I checked, I think there was maybe 1 or 2 spaces left.
Wow.
But it's for absolutely all levels. I have people who, like colleagues of mine who come. I have total beginners who come. And it's just a low pressure environment. It's not super serious. You know, we're not taking off loads of layers.
Yeah.
It's very choreography based. And yeah, it's just a good time.
Yeah, I suppose it's a good way to get into like your seductive side.
Absolutely. You can like dip your toe, see if this movement feels good to you,
Yeah.
and then you can go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, can you show us how to take our gloves off?
Gloves, yes. So one of my favourite glove peels, as we call them, is to use the teeth. So small little tip, make sure you have some wiggle room, otherwise you're going to bite your nails off. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to go index finger first. 1, 2.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, and don't be afraid.
for the moment. will you add that in? Will you
Yeah,
tell us?
of course you can add that in.
Because I feel like we should. If I take this off, I won't be able to get it back on.
Oh, yeah, okay. So we'll,
Yes, good,
we'll
good.
add that into the very end.
We'll add it into the end,
So,
yes.
okay. We'll go
Once
from
you've done the
start.
1, 2, 3, then you
Okay.
can grab all 3 fingers and just pull. And don't be afraid,
Okay.
like to
Okay.
like
Right,
with the
so we
gloves,
have to
they'll be
start,
fine.
we
We're gonna
start
do the
with the
dance
music now and
with the
add the
music.
glove in.
Here we go.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
Okay. You can just like give a little moment here for
Okay,
the intro.
okay.
Here we go. Bump, 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 and right. Yes, other side. 1, 2, 3. Hot, yes. Good. We're stepping up. Right. Oh. Take it down. Oh, gorgeous. Yes, you got us. And down. And here we go. Now go. 1, 2, 3. Take it all in. Yeah! Gorgeous! Oh my God, you two are natural.
So much to do. Now, that's a reminder that if you want to try your hand at Burlesque, Dee is running a Halloween-themed workshop on tomorrow in Liffey Trust Studios in Dublin. So you can find all details there on Eventbrite.
Yes, still to come, Bake Off champ Giuseppe Dell'Anno joins us. Plus, we've pet advice ahead of the spooky season. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Stick to your plan. Trust no one. Stick to the plan. Forbid empathy. Stick to the plan. Anticipate. Don't improvise. Never yield an advantage. Stick to the plan. Fight only the battle you're paid to fight. Ask yourself, what's in it for me? Stick to the plan. Empathy, weakness, vulnerability. This is what it takes if you want to succeed. Simple.
All right, we'll take a final look at your morning papers, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline, Israel pounds Gaza as UN calls for truce. They report that Israel pounded Gaza last night from the air, sea and ground with unprecedented ferocity, knocking out communication systems and internet networks across the coastal enclave.
RTE knew it had made pay error before Tubridy named and shamed. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. They write that RTE's board knew a €120,000 error over Ryan Tubridy's pay was the station's fault before naming and shaming their star.
The Examiner goes with the headline, Judge warns of toxic drug danger. They go on to write that a retired Cork judge has expressed concern at the potential impact that toxic synthetic opiates would have if they were used by drug dealers to fill any future gap in the heroin market. On
to the tabloids, and the Herald leads with blood match to DNA under Aisling's nails. They report that a male DNA profile found under the fingernails of Aisling Murphy matched blood samples taken from the murder accused at court heard yesterday.
The front page of the Mirror goes with the same story, DNA under Aisling's nails. They write that an expert claimed the possibility of DNA found under the nails of Aisling Murphy belonged to anyone other than a relative of the murder accused was 1 in 14,000.
The Star goes with the headline, Daylight Robbery. They write that a fuming MEP says putting clocks back is making us all sick.
The Daily Mail leads with reports into RTE scandals cost 2.3 million so far. They report that the government and RTE are spending over 2.3 million on a colossal series of reviews to tackle a lack of governance and financial mismanagement at the broadcaster, which members of the Public Accounts Committee have described as outrageous.
And finally, The Sun lead with Cash's Kin. They report that hit Irish crime drama Kin has been saved after it was snapped for a prime slot on BBC One.
Both New Zealand and South Africa are bidding to become the first nation to win the Rugby World Cup for the 4th time when they meet in the final tonight.
Yes, our reporter Tommy Martin is in France this morning with a special guest.
Take it away, Tommy.
Yes, indeed. It's the morning that Irish rugby fans dreamed of being involved in, didn't we? But it wasn't to be. We have the two giants of world rugby meeting in the final today. Still a few pockets of Irish fans. Met a few on the flight over who'd obviously gambled and bought tickets for the final, making a trip of it anyway. And one man I met described it as like an All-Ireland hurling final between Tipperary and Kilkenny, and going to watch those two playing. Having said that, I do have a proud Tipperary man joining me here at Stade de France. Alan Quinlan on commentary for Virgin Media this evening. Alan, good to see you this morning. What is it about these two nations that means more often than not they get it right at Rugby World Cups?
I think it's the quality of players they have, Tommy. You know, it's in their DNA as regards the type of players they can produce, the culture of winning. They both won 3 World Cups, so player numbers in their countries, etc. So it's that's probably it, you know, and playing at a top quality level all the time. They've always been the best, two of the best nations who've played the game. This morning is the morning we've all dreaded from an Irish point of view when you started there, that Ireland are not here. Well, we were hopeful, but it's a little bit strange. But for New Zealand, South Africa, they've been the trendsetters, particularly around World Cups, and tonight should be a cracking final.
Yeah, there's a real sense of what might have been, isn't there? In terms of the two teams we're going to see on the park this evening, are we going to see a real contrast in styles and how both teams approach the game?
Probably. I think the weather will dictate how the game flows, but you know, South Africa obviously are renowned for their power and their physicality and putting massive pressure on the opposition, squeezing the life out of them. They've shown that many times in their success. For New Zealand, they probably come into the game that bit fresher. I think the start they had against Ireland wasn't a surprise as regards their finishing and their execution, because that's in their DNA, you know, to score those kind of tries. So there is a contrast in styles, I think, and both coaches will certainly try and focus on what they want to do. South Africa will try and bring that power. New Zealand probably bring that pace and quality of finishing, they will hope.
Just talk to us about the 7-1 split everybody's been talking about. Just explain to people who might be coming to this game and don't maybe understand the relevance of that. That's 7 forwards on the bench and 1 back from South Africa. If it is a wet night tonight, if it is going to be a forwards game, how important is that going to be?
It could be really significant, but it's you know, Rassie Erasmus picked 7 forwards against New Zealand in the warm-up game. Traditionally, you'd have 5 forwards and 3 backs. That's the way most teams have gone. They bucked the trend a little bit in Japan in 2019. South Africa, they picked 6 forwards on the bench and 2 backs. A little bit of criticism for that, that it's not right, but look, it is within the laws of the game, and it was very effective for them in that warm-up game. They did it against Ireland, and Andy Farrell didn't react and go picking forwards to replicate that. It didn't work for him. Essentially, Ireland won that game. But when you consider 7 forwards coming on and 1 goal in the second half of a game is a big impact. There's a risk in it because if you get injuries in your backs, but he's gone with the same tonight. He's trying to get inside New Zealand's head, put his cards on the table and say, well, we're going to try and batter you up front here. We're going to bring on all this power. New Zealand haven't reacted themselves. They've gone for a different sort of makeup on their bench and gone with the 5-3 split.
So, who's going to win and why?
It's a tough one.
That's a big question.
Yeah, it is a tough one because I think on form maybe and on freshness, you think New Zealand are coming in full of confidence, really confident, playing brilliant rugby. But South Africa, I think they'll be a lot better than they were last week against England. Weather will dictate it. So I was thinking New Zealand yesterday, I'm thinking South Africa today because of the weather.
I think you may be changing your mind several times before kick-off. It's that type of game, isn't it, Alan? And we are watching the skies really closely. Rain is forecast. That will have a big impact on the game. We'll let you go and rest your vocal cords, Alan, for commentary this evening. As you said there a few minutes ago, both nations have won this competition 3 times. One of them will be crowned the undisputed kings of the Rugby World Cup later on, and you'll be able to see it live on Virgin Media 1.
Cheers, Tommy. To think he started out in shorts and t-shirts.
Yes.
And now he's got a short jump. They've got layers on.
I know.
At the end of October.
Do you know what? I think if Ireland had been playing today, it wouldn't rain. It would be a gorgeous day. So there you go. I do. Yeah, they missed out on that now.
That's it. Well, next time. After the break. No soggy bottoms on show here. No.
Excuse you.
Well, I wasn't talking about me. It's Bake Off champ Giuseppe Dell'Anno. Up after this break. We'll see you in a few minutes.
You're very welcome back. Our next guest wowed audiences when he won Bake Off back in 2021 for his complicated cakes that were feats of engineering as much as baking.
Defying gravity, so they were. From anti-grav beanstalks to a leaning tower of Pisa that actually leaned. Giuseppe Dell'Anno just couldn't take a week off, and he's with us now on the line to chat about his new book, Giuseppe's Easy Bakes, and the fond memories behind his maddest cakes on the show. Good morning, Giuseppe. We're delighted you're joining us. How are you?
Buongiorno, Martin. Buongiorno. It's my pleasure. Buongiorno, Shiva.
Buongiorno.
Okay. We're mentioning here how, you know, there was a technical aspect to your builds, that you're a technical baker. Is that a fair description of you?
I think it is. I mean, it's fair to say that you can take a boy out of engineering, but you cannot take engineering out of a boy in reality. So my engineering self is still dominating my new baking life, to the point that I cannot even conceive baking without spirit levels and a set of rulers.
Yeah, so not only do you have just a bit of a background, you have a PhD in engineering. So how much of an edge does that give you, I think?
A big one, if I'm honest, because in my engineering career, funnily enough, I used to bake a lot. The only difference is that instead of baking cakes, I used to bake airplane wings, because my specialty is composite material. So you've got to bake them literally to make the composite. The ovens were slightly larger on the side, closer to 25 meters in length. And admittedly, if you screw up a cake, that's, some damage. But if you screw up an airplane wing, that's another ballpark.
Yes.
Yeah. Slight difference between the two.
A bit more of a risk there.
But yeah, I mean, there's a preciseness about both engineering and indeed there's a science to baking as well. So yeah, we know that and appreciate it. But like, baking didn't just happen for you. You grew up around it because your father was a skilled baker.
Yeah, my dad was, and I've been blessed actually with a lot of with the extended family. Many of them are in the baking business. I've got a cousin that is a chocolate decorator and an uncle that has got a bread bakery. So for me, in reality, baking was never a real skill. It was considered almost, a second nature. You would consider reading a talent exactly. And that was, it was similar for me with baking. And only realized later in life that it wasn't as common as I thought it was. And not everybody can actually bake a cake.
But I think you're dead right. Like, it should be almost like a basic life skill that everyone should have. But some of us aren't blessed with brilliant baking fathers at home like yourself. But you were on Bake Off in 2021 and you did brilliantly. You were my favourite that season, now I have to say. But I know you've spoken before about feeling insecure about going on to the show, about how you would be received. Tell us a little bit about that.
That is, it's something that is going to stay with me for the rest of my life. I mean, if the Bake Off didn't manage to wipe that off my head, nothing can. I still live with a consistent imposter syndrome. I'm always thinking sooner or later somebody will realize that I'm just a fraud and I shouldn't be where I am. And it's a very difficult thought to deal with. I've met a lot of people that are in the same situation, and they've asked me how I've done. How I have dealt with it. I really don't have a secret or a single solution with it. I just have to deal with the fact that I'm very insecure. I always worry a lot about things, but I think that in reality, this is more of a strength than a weakness, because the fact that I'm insecure, and I was insecure throughout Bake Off, forced me to prepare a lot. I needed to test my bakes several times because I was never convinced that it was going to work. And I think that level of, exceptional attention to detail brought me where I am today. So in a way, I should be grateful that I'm so insecure.
Yeah, I don't think you can be a fraud if you've got 2 handshakes off Paul Hollywood now.
No, Star Baker, you were the top man and everybody's favourite.
I keep telling that myself, Martin, but I don't think that'll ever sink in. Honestly, if it hasn't done so far, it never will.
Well, your humility stands out. That's probably, as you said just now, the strength that made you such a winner. Are you watching this season's Bake Off?
Of course I am. I've only missed the latest episode because I'm in the middle of my UK book tour. So I'm talking from York right now, from my hotel. So I think I've got a bit of I relate with Josh a lot because he's a chemist and I'm a chemical engineer. So I can see a lot of the mechanics behind this thought process there, because they are very similar to mine. And I think I'm hoping that he makes it to the final. I've seen Dan being very good there and Matti also getting from strength to strength. There were 2 bakers that were more emotionally close to me, and I would have loved to see them all the way through. One is Nikki, who unfortunately went last week, and the other one is Saku, that I'm hoping is going to stay on the show as long as possible. I just want to hug her all day long. She's so sweet. It's incredible.
Okay. You mentioned you missed this week's episode because you're on a book tour. Giuseppe's Easy Bakes. It's brand new. It's there for all of us to create our own little bits of wonder. So tell us about it. Is it all cake, or have we got some savouries in there too?
This one is entirely sweets, so there are no savory bits in Giuseppe's Easy Bakes, but it does what it says on the tin in reality, Martin. It's just a collection of a relatively easy bakes to make. And the reason why I used that criterion to pick the recipes this time around is that I've got a very busy family life, as most of us do. I've got 3 kids at home. And usually when they ask me for something sweet, they think of that at lunchtime and they want something at the end of, for dessert at the end of lunch. So it's not as easy to whip up, a baba or a sovereign, a complicated bake. I wanted to put together something that in half an hour at most is ready to go in the oven. So if you feel like you want to bake something on a Sunday afternoon, or you've got a couple of hours spare, that's when you want to do it. And those recipes have been all cherry-picked for being delicious as well as quick and easy.
Okay, so I don't need a PhD in engineering to be making anything out of this book.
There's no
no, Shiva. But absolutely, that's the thing. I don't want to give the message that accuracy is so important that if you're not an engineer, you cannot bake. Baking should be for everybody, and everybody should be enjoying the process. And if you enjoy the process, it's a bit. They call it the IKEA effect. If you've done it yourself, regardless of the result, you're gonna enjoy it anyway. So, and that's the message there. Even if the bake isn't perfect, isn't Bake Off worthy, who cares? If you enjoy the process, you love it anyway.
Oh, that's a great message to have along with it, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And of course, we're looking at some of your YouTube videos, because you're prolific on YouTube.
I wish I was, not as much as my agent would like me to be. But the reality is that in the book there are some QR codes in some of the key recipes, the ones that I was particularly keen on. And if you scan them with your phone, the related YouTube video will come up explaining that particular passage in the recipe. So I just wanted to make it even easier for people, and that gives you a bit of these days, reading is almost becoming, a skill that nobody wants to use anymore. Everybody's about videos. The shorter, the better. TikTok is changing our attention span. So I wanted to use that to my advantage, and I've included videos in the book that way.
Okay. Well, look, for all the visual learners, that's what we like. We like to see you do it, and then we try to copy it. And by the way, agents are never happy because they want you working more so that you're earning more.
I know, I'm starting to realise that.
Giuseppe, great to talk to you.
Thanks so
for joining
much.
us
Can't
today.
wait to have a look at that book.
Always.
And you can pick up a copy of Giuseppe's new book, Giuseppe's Easy Bakes, from any good bookshop nationwide today.
Up next, Halloween is a fun time for many of us, but sadly, it's said to be a sad time and the most dangerous time of year for pets. Dr. Bobby will be here to answer all your pet questions after this break.
Welcome back. Halloween's just around the corner and many families across Ireland will be getting ready to celebrate the spooky holidays in style.
There's some members of the family, though, who may not be so enthusiastic, however, and that's, of course, our furry four-legged friends.
Yes, well, we have just the man to help answer your Halloween pet questions, and that's, of course, our very own Dr. Bobby. Dr. Bobby, you're so welcome here. We always love having you on. Halloween,
Thanks,
you know, it is just around the corner. Halloween means fireworks, trick-or-treaters, a lot of unexpected knocks on the door. It's a scary time for a lot of our pets at home.
Absolutely, yeah. They obviously don't know what's going on. It's hard to explain to them, and then you have these masked figures coming up, so it's a lot of intense stress for them, yeah.
Yeah, it is very stressful. You brought a guest with you today.
I did. This is the beautiful Brittany. She is a rescue through My Lovely Horse, and she's been unfortunately looking for a home for about a year. And I think obviously just for size, but she's so nice, as you can see.
She is very, very playful.
Gorgeous girl.
And she's released her book this week. I don't have a copy of it yet, but we'll get to it.
Brittany, how are the book sales doing?
Sure, she's grand. You can tell by the look on her face. She's very, very happy. All right. Lots of people have been in touch because, you know, as you said, it can be a very, very stressful time for pets, and that in turn becomes stressful for let's say, the parents, the owners. So we've got a number of people who've been getting in touch with us, some by Skype. And first up is Louise Mangan. How are you, Louise?
Good morning. Hello.
How are you? You've got a cockapoo.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me and Bo on the show this morning.
We're delighted to have you. What's your question for Bobby?
Yeah, Bobby. Just wondering if you have any advice. So this will be our first Halloween with Bo, and we live in quite a new build housing estate, so we're expecting a lot of trick-or-treaters. We're just wondering, you know, Bo loves getting the door. Anytime the doorbell goes off, he's chasing the Amazon driver down the road. Wondering, have you got any advice with the trick-or-treaters, how to keep kind of Bo calm and kind of avoid him from kind of maybe barking on Halloween night?
Yeah, I think that's probably that's a great question, the most common one that we get around this time of year. And especially being the first Halloween, obviously, there's a lot that's really new for Bo and Louise. Biggest thing is, look, we do have a few more days before Halloween, obviously, and is to try to desensitize them to those sounds, to maybe not to the trick-or-treaters, but definitely to the sounds, the bangers, things like that going off. If you have a really fancy, the new doorbells, I think you can change, turn those off. I think that's one way. But then if you're not able to do that, obviously knocking on the door as well for a lot of kids can set them off, is trying to get them into a really quiet room. So getting them into a dark room where there's nice ambiance music or radio or the TV kind of just distracting, or even white noise that can just keep them kind of calm during that time. But if that doesn't work as well, and we still do have a few days, is trying to get them used to those sounds. So a lot of really good dog trainers and behavioralists out there would recommend start having someone knock on the door, or even playing like a fireworks sounds, like on the radio or something, on the speaker, low sounds, and slowly increasing them so they get used to that, and then they don't freak out when it happens.
Louise needs to go outside our door and just ring the bell for better now.
Exactly, just keep doing that over and over.
Thanks so much, Louise.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Louise, and have a great bank holiday weekend.
Now, that is a good point, about all of that and desensitising them. But next up, we do have a question from Katie Moore. And Katie, what would you like to ask? Good morning. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, how are you? No worries. Just wondering, so some of my family members are kind of looking to dress up our dog for Halloween now. I've seen a lot of TikTok trends of people dressing their pets up and things. So is that something that's like a really bad idea, or does it depend on the temperament of the dog?
Another really good one, I think you see, like everyone loves to accessorize themselves, and I think we use our pets as another accessory, which is questionable. But it's a really good one because it really, really depends. Some dogs absolutely don't mind putting hats on, putting coats on, all that different stuff. It's totally fine. Other dogs, it's not okay. They get really stressed, they get worried. One of the things we don't realise is that dogs use their entire body to communicate. So if we put a hat on them or we put a costume over them, they're not able to show that they're scared. They're not able to show that they're happy to meet another dog. So especially if you're going to some of these costume parties or meetups with other dogs, I almost cringe at that because there's so many times where dogs are trying to communicate and they might not be able to. And that's where we can see little fights or things that can kind of break out because one, they can be totally nice, but one dog says, look, I don't know, I'm a bit scared. And another puppy comes running up and goes, oh, I want to play. So really, really depends. I think obviously starting off at home where it's nice and quiet, seeing if your dog's okay, having those costumes put on, and then kind of slowly going from there. But it really, really depends on the dog and their temperament.
It is important to have kind of the ears definitely on the tail as well. Don't cover that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's impressive. My own dog, Bodhi's been on before. When he gets scared or gets, trying to show attention or even fear, the hackles on his back will stick up. And that's a huge indication to say, look, stay away. I am a bit worried, So I really kind of think about that. Bodhi's fine with putting those things on, but I know that I wouldn't really take my pup to, a situation where meeting other dogs.
Okay. And other dogs could get jealous of the costume. And that could cause the row.
One's looking too good than the other.
But like, we could also be we're humanising our dogs.
That's true.
That's something we need to remember. They're dogs.
Thanks, Katie.
We have a younger viewer now. Thanks so much, Katie. We now a younger viewer called Georgia, who has a dog named Charlie. Hi, Georgia, and what's your question for Bobby?
So, Charlie was adopted from My Lovely Horse Rescue. He's young and recently he's been anxious. So, what should you do if your pet is panicking, going into shock, or showing signs of fear?
That's a really, really good one because that can be, look, it's your first time, obviously, with a new adopted dog, or even as Louise, I think, at the beginning, with their new dog, the first time they're going to be experiencing that. So really, really important to have some resources on hand that if you don't know how your dog is going to react in those kind of stressful situations, you want to make sure that you do know, just as for ourselves, make sure we know where the emergency hospital might be. Obviously, most of the time it's going to be happening when most of the vet clinics are closed. So you want to make sure, how is your vet operating on Halloween? Do they have an emergency number that you can contact if it is a true emergency? But I think it really goes for, as we were saying at the start, really trying to keep everything really calm. So if you're able to keep them away from the door, keep them in an area that they can't hurt themselves. I have heard of dogs that get super stressed, that are trying to get away or just run, have hurt themselves in, breaking windows or things like that. So just trying to keep them as safe as possible. Another kind of techniques I didn't say before is that there's actually these like pheromone sprays that you can use for dogs and cats that actually can get them to calm down quite a bit and de-stress them. So getting a room ready with that, keeping the lights down, the music, as we said. And then even, I know we were talking about costumes, but something that can actually work really well is these heavy kind of jackets that are almost like a dog being hugged, right? Not a costume, but one that we're really worried about dogs being so stressed. It is kind of a way that calms them down quite well. And I actually used it on growing up, we had a dog that was very anxious and it worked really well.
That's very good idea.
Georgia, thanks so much.
Yes, thank you, Georgia.
Okay.
And Dr. Bobby, thank you again.
And Brittany.
Yes, and Brittany for being the star.
Good luck with the new album as well.
Now, to find out more about Bobby's animal adventures, you can find him on Instagram at Dr. Bob. Up next, how to wake up your wardrobe with a caffeine injection.
Not throwing coffee in your wardrobe, right? We're on the catwalk next.
Welcome back, folks. Anyone fancy a coffee?
Yes, please.
Well, if you've spotted the latte makeup trend on TikTok, you'll know that it's translated to our wardrobes for autumn-winter.
Yes, and here to show us how it's really done is stylist Judy Gilroy. Good morning, Judy. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm excited
Good
to
morning.
see this. Yes.
I'm ready for a tall cup of fashion perfection.
So talk to me about this latte trend. It's something we're going to be seeing for a while now.
Completely. So this is something we've definitely seen from social media. I mean, I think it has a really cute name. It was was on TikTok, it was all over in the makeup world, and now it's kind of extended into fashion. But if you think about it, this trend really makes a lot of sense because that minimal aesthetic has been really popular over the last couple of seasons. It's really timeless and elegant, whereas this is kind of like an amp up with a bit more injection of those chocolatey hues.
Some tonal looks.
Exactly.
Who's up first?
So today we have Alex. So we've got a bit of menswear. I love that this is something that men and women can do. And all of our looks today are from the Jervis Shopping Centre in Dublin. And do you know what? I loved a bit of real life shopping this week instead of online. So this look here today is from Selected Hom. The scarf, our jacket, and our jumper here, all in Jervis Shopping Centre. And do you know what? This is a really lovely brand, I think, with amazing quality and good price points, and just really kind of classic chic pieces. So here I've mixed in that kind of caramel tone of the jumper and through the accessories, the scarf and the gloves, with like dashes of white and that navy coat. And you know, that's a top tip for the men. Navy goes really well with all of those kind of latte tones.
Yeah, I was going to say that's definitely an oat milk latte colour jumper now. Yeah. Definitely a smoke milk.
And it's a really easy way for men to do the trend. Love these gloves, think they'd make a great gifting piece coming closer into Christmas time. Then, do you know what, you could go for a chino with this look if you wanted to go a little bit more tonal with the look, but to make it that bit more wearable, I've gone for a great pair of jeans today, and these are from the Timberland store in Jervis, €110.
It's a good brand too.
Really nice brand, really good price point, and just a lovely kind of dark denim wash in a straight leg. And then to polish it off there, I've gone for a really cool pair of Timberland trainers, which are a little bit high top, and again we're injecting in those chocolate tones into the look and tying the whole look together.
It's a safe way to introduce the lads to the latte in a way, right?
I don't know, would the lads call it latte dressing though? I'm not sure. So this next look is a really tonal look, and I suppose this is kind of a really full-on way of embracing the trend and opting for it from head to toe. With all of these kind of chocolatey tones, I think gold works really well. I picked up a pair of 4-pack of earrings in Burlesque for $7.99, all different chunky gold hoops, which are really, really cool. So I put them into this look here today. And then for our co-word set, our little knit and our skirt under that lovely jack from Carrick Dunn, which is €60, I think, for a coat. €60, yeah. And the Carrick Dunn store in Jervis literally has everything from clothing to fashion as well.
Which I like.
I like the fit of that.
Really beautiful. Yeah, so for our main look here, for the knit and the skirt, I went for these two lovely kind of chocolatey colours from Burlesque.
It's like a mocha.
Really lovely. And do you know what? This actually isn't a co-word. These are separate pieces that I just put together because that chocolate look is just so on trend at the minute. I've gone for the olive green handbag, kind of going for the pumpkin spice vibes. And then to tie the whole look together, I've gone for that lovely skirt. Again, this is from Burlesque in the Jervis Shopping Centre. Only 20 quid for this one.
Very good.
Yeah, and with the boots as well, from Burlesque as well, going for that really tonal look.
And I like that kind of length of sock boots.
Yes.
The heel is perfect.
Yes, it's not too high.
It's
yeah,
also
that could be a day boot.
Very flattering, I think, as well, where the boot stops, which is what you want where you're wearing that mid-axi skirt.
Or even jeans, you won't see them.
Really good look. And I think going for a point boot as well is really going to dress up a look even during the daytime there, like you're saying.
Now, what latte is this, Shiva?
This is definitely pumpkin spice.
This is pumpkin spice.
This is screaming pumpkin spice, yeah.
So for our next look today, pumpkin spice, or maybe a little bit of caramel macchiato. I've gone for this kind of more casual chic look. Again, I've gone for the chunky golds because I think that they just work so well. This jewellery again from Burlesque, $11.99 for a little necklace to really just elevate a look, which is something I love. So our jacket today, this shearling jacket, I think is so fabulous. This is from New Look.
No way.
€75, and the shearling jacket is such a hero piece this season and actually every season. So I think it's a really kind of, it's a worthy piece to invest in.
It's like a blanket as well when you wear it, you'll be kept warm.
Really is, yeah. So today I've layered it over the lovely kind of caramel coloured knit from Carrick Dunn. I've gone for a neutral jean, and I think that this is a great example, even right down from the bag to the jeans, how to kind of amp up the winter whites and make them less white and more wearable. So we had that beautiful bag and then the little cropped jean there. Again, these are from Carrick Dunn. €55.
They kind of have a distressed hem at the bottom.
At the end, which is cool. And you know what? You could have done these with a pair of boots.
Yeah.
But the ballet flat is just so on trend.
The ballet flat. Are we not going to be freezing girls walking around in autumn in our ballet flats?
Personally, I would be, but they do look so cute.
I know they're fashion.
Well, we have this very unseasonably warm weather.
Okay.
You know, so I'm pro ballet flat. They're
call them dolly shoes.
Oh yes, and they stank. The ones from Penny's did anyway.
The dolly shoes are Penny's.
Well, I'm definitely pro ballet flat. I think it's one trend I'm happy to get on board with, and I think it's a really good look. So that look, another one there from German Shopping Centre.
Yeah.
And then to finish it off, we have another fab look for the boys. I think this is kind of hot chocolate. Hot chocolate girls.
Look at you. Hot chocolate.
So this is a really great look. And you know what? Actually, this hot chocolate brown is a super alternative to black, and it works really well with black. So our jacket today is €299 from Best Menswear. It's a little bit more expensive, but for me, a jacket is an investment piece that you're going to have for years. And this is Calvin Klein.
Wow.
So really, you get what you pay for with this.
Great.
Yeah, our polo neck underneath, for me, this is a classic for both men and women. This one's $49.99 from Best Menswear. Again, just really simple, chic, like just really good look, I think, on men. I think anybody can pull this off as well, and it's really easy to throw on and go. So because we've kind of gone for those darker tones up top, I've gone for a darker wash on the denim. I think these are a fab pair of jeans. I think these are Tommy jeans, and they're €119, again, super price point. And to finish off the look, I've tied in those chocolate tones on the top and on the bottom with a fab pair of boots from Timberland. Now, again, these are €225, but these are the classic boots.
People have Timberland for like 10 years plus.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah. They will last you.
Yeah. So another super look there, and all of those pieces are available to shop from the stores in the Jervis Shopping Centre.
Look, these looks. Dying for a coffee.
Maybe a pumpkin spice, maybe.
Hot chocolate, anybody?
Julie, thanks so much.
Thanks, girls.
Now, earlier we fried up some lovely Fakeaway Spice Bags. So here's how we did it.
In a bowl, season your chips with oil, then place in an air fryer for about 25 minutes. While they cook, season your raw chicken strips with a few tablespoons of soy sauce and potato starch, then air fry for an additional 10 minutes. Next, season your veg and mix in with the chips and chicken strips in a big bowl. Add some more seasoning and, of course, your curry ketchup, then you're good to serve. And it was a delicious spice bag.
Oh, it was so good. Everyone in here was eating all the leftovers that Fiona left.
Anyway, coming up tomorrow, he's known for his vulgar behaviour and quick one-liners, but that's why we love him. The hilarious Jim Royle, you know him from the TV sitcom, actor Ricky Tomlinson will be chatting to us.
I can't wait for that. Just a day after her book release, she's celebrating the highest celebrity memoir in history. Not the doggy, but we're going to be delving into Britney Spears' actual Britney Spears book, The Woman in Me.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Now, winter is coming, but is your skin ready for the freezing cold climate? We'll have a dermatologist-approved tips for glowing winter skin.
And he's been wowing audiences since the showband era and has been known to bring Oprah to tears. We sit down with singer Red Hurley. He'll be joining us tomorrow from 9. Make sure you do too. Lots of texts coming in.
Yes, guys. So earlier on we were talking about modern fears, so the things that people are afraid of in modern day. So I was afraid of being late. Were you afraid? Did you tell us what your fear was?
No.
What's your modern fear?
My fear is the one that it always is, losing one of my kids.
Oh,
Well, it's now transferred to the grandkids. I'm going through a crowded area. And, where's she going?
Losing sight of them. But Rebecca texted in, she said, I'm more afraid of people with their phones than anything. Zombie stares, scary. Because we were saying earlier that people were afraid of being without their phone, but Rebecca's scared of people with their phones.
Yeah, I hear her.
They don't look up.
Because you'd be on, walking with Google Maps, in town. I'm like,
she would. It's the only way she can get from A to B.
And I'm like, sorry, Rebecca, can't see you there.
We just a bit mindless, started in the scrolling, but
somebody, Anne it was. Yes, Anne said, your burlesque dancing. Magic television.
She was incredible,
Magic
wasn't she?
television.
Oh,
Yeah.
and someone, G, says the girls are naturals. Maybe we should change our careers and,
I think
and become
so.
burlesque professional. D, if you'll have us.
We're available.
Yeah.
Call us.
Anyway, enjoy your Saturday.
See
Don't
ya.
forget the clocks go back. See you tomorrow.